communicate to everybody quickly what you want out of that plan. And historically, being an old winger, I was never in charge of the plan. They never let me be in charge of the plan at all. So once I got to be the head coach, I got to be in charge of the plan. So I'm excited. I was excited about that part of it. But I like to put, and I think most coaches do, put the centerman in charge. So the center's in charge of what face-off play or what face-off plan are we going to do. Make sure everyone knows, because there's nothing worse than two guys doing drop the winger and then the other two guys are doing blow the right side, and it's everybody, bad things happen. So having everybody on the same page, knowing what they're doing and where they're going to go. An important part of inside of that face-off plan is there's two elements to it. You have the 2D and the two wingers. So the important part for the defenseman, D has to know who has the puck. So the one D, usually the D on the wall, and there's a D back in this area with a forward, and the center iceman. So between these two D men, they have to figure out who's got the puck and who's going to bump. So between the two of them, they have to talk to each other. Is one guy going to bump it to the other guy? Is he just going to take it and wheel it around? The other guy's just going to interfere. So that communication between them two is important, and the center has to make sure that he's telling them, okay, and this all has to happen pretty quick how they go to do it. He's going forehand. Usually it goes forehand, backhand, and they know which way they're going. If it's on the forehand, who's bumping and who's taking the puck. And the next part of it for the wingers is who bumps and, well, we used to call it who jumps, but nowadays it's probably who stretches. So between these two wingers here, is this guy going to bump on the inside and he's going to stretch it out here? That's pretty normal how it happens, but sometimes they go the other way and this guy's going to bump a little farther for this D to go. So between those two wingers, they have to know which guy's bumping and which guy's jumping. And the guy that's bumping has to make sure he's on the inside and he's bumping that guy, giving that D just a split second. You can't give them 4 or 5 seconds to make a play, but if you're going to be a defenseman in the National Hockey League, if a forward gives you a second, that's all you get. That's all you get, so make a play. So if you can't make that play and that decision within 1 second, you can't play in the league, and you're not going to last in the league. So all the player can do is give you a second. If they can give you a second, you make the play, and we should be able to get out and get running and get going. So the importance of the face-off in all three zones, in the defensive zone and the offensive zone for the two teams, is a real priority to have a plan. The neutral zone gets to be a little bit of a juggling act, and maybe not as strict about how to do it, but still having a plan there and figuring out what you're going to do from your blue line when the face-off's at your blue line as opposed to their blue line. Do you have to build it? Do you just go right up and create a forecheck off it, which is normally what happens. So I've got a bunch of clips here that we can go through and talk about, show the bumps, show the execution on the breakouts. Most of the time it's the team that's breaking out that we're going to be looking at as opposed to the team that gets them until we get to the offensive zone. In the offensive zone, it was kind of hard to, in the games that I went through, to find really enough face-off plays that there was a great scoring opportunity off of. I maybe didn't dig far enough, but I got a couple that are there, but a couple that would show something that we can do. And in the neutral zone, there's a couple of interesting ones to look at that we could maybe discuss. So the first one is going to be the defensive zone. And it's a Carolina So the Carolina Hurricanes are lined up with their D back here, so they have to decide who's bumping 27. 27's going to come in hard on the bump, so 74 I think is going to get the bump, and they get a bump on the outside. And one thing about this play right here I want to talk about is here and here. For the defenseman, the referees are gone, right? All right, so we don't want them to know this. See this guy with the stripes on? He can be a real good bumper for this guy. Because all you got to do is skate straight at him, and the guy that, this guy here, he's gonna have to go through you and through him before he gets to this guy here. So if that defenseman for you on the wall, lots of times he's the guy that's bumping, so if he's bumping, just bump your guy right into him, because when he drops that puck, where's he going? He's gonna stand there or he's gonna back up, right? So you may as well just go with him and run your guy into him, and that should be more than 1 second. That's how you get more than a second to make a play, is if you can run that guy into the referee. Now sometimes it doesn't always work, but that's part of a nuance of a face-off that you can do. They don't really give you penalties for bumping into the linesman off of a face-off. But if you bump into the other guy, you know, they kind of give you penalties for that once in a while off of face-off interference. So off of this face-off, let's let it run. So they got the little bit of bump, and this D goes straight back here, and now we got a stretch here, or the jump is here, center is here, they got their bumps, and he's going to get time. And they just go up the ice with it, and they create a battle for the puck here. Puck stayed in the rink, but they had a good plan, they got good bumps, and now what I have here is Ottawa, again, with the linesman. Again, there could be a bump here, you could do it here, you could bump on the inside, but on this one here, the D is gonna skate it low, and you're gonna have good support underneath it. So 71 was the center iceman, he's here, he's bumped. They got a good bump here on the inside, this winger's gonna collapse, and the winger's gonna come away, and this D, they bumped here with the linesman. And now they come across, the winger dropped from here to here, and this is the center, this is the winger that's stretching the other way, and the centerman makes sure that he comes under and stays in that ice, so that there's support for this guy. This one guy can get out and go out and stretch a long way, but not everybody can go. Not everybody can go right away, but if this center is not here, the next guy that this guy would have support from would be this guy here. If he had a bump, this guy would pursue here, he would come up right behind this guy, so if this guy gave him a hard time not getting it to him, he'd be able to get it to him. So he's right, now he's in a good spot, lay the puck to him, he's there, and now they have 1, 2, 3 guys that can go on the rush, along with this guy, so this is a good exit. Now, Boston Bruins are one of the teams that historically do this. Like, this is different from a lot of teams in the league that they would put this guy right behind here. I think a lot of the reason why the Boston Bruins do this is that this is either number 37, Pierre Bergeron, or Patrice Bergeron, whose face-off percentage is 60-some plus or 70-some plus face-off, especially on his backhand. And the other player they have is David Krejci, who's also a right-handed centerman, so a lot of times they put their D behind them because they're very confident that they're going to win a puck. And here they get they've got a D on the bump here, winger here, and this one here, they wing it, but when they win it back to him, he can use the net to go, he can use the front of the net, he can turn it up this way and go, and they can really get themselves going with an exit. Here I believe they're going to go and find this winger here. So this guy dove in to help with the puck. He's wide open. The D just takes it, and now they go, and they're gone. Support through here, support here. You can go up the wall to this guy be carried a little bit longer. So that's good execution by them. The Toronto guy dove in to try to win a puck. They won it back, and they just went right up, and away they go. Because their D is standing back there, he didn't have to go behind the net. They just took off with it. This is Boston again, where their D is they're gonna get some good support when the D skates it. So here they get a bit of a bump here. Here they got a bump, made this guy go around the linesman. They get it to the D. This is his partner supporting. There's pursuit, but notice this guy stays in the zone, and Boston is very good at not everybody leaving. So when the D has to reverse his ice and come back this way, This guy's here. And this is a big part of getting out of your zone and success off of exits from your zone from the face-off. The D got to have someone to give it to. The wingers can't just all stretch the zone and get out of it. Someone's got to stick around and be in the middle of the rink for support. A lot of times that's the center iceman. Sometimes it's they might keep the bumping winger in and he's the guy that's in the middle of the rink. But in this one, this is the center that stays in. And so this D makes sure that he has support from his partner. And also the wingers stay. The wingers stay puck side and they're in the middle of the rink. So all 5 Boston Bruins were still in the zone after the face-off, and that's why they have success. That's probably why they end up playing for the Stanley Cup, and their team is high in the standings on a regular basis. Is just attention to detail and execution off of face-offs is a really big part of their success. This would be St. Louis. Again, they're set up for a bump here and a bump on the inside. And I think their D is going to they're going to D to D skate this, and the center's under this one as well. This is the center here. This guy got a long bump on it here. The winger's going right away. The D, here's where the D, when we talked about the D, is who's got the puck. This D was getting the puck. He's going to bump it, just a little bump to his partner, and the center's going to come underneath it. And now they're in good shape. They got the winger here. The center's underneath it here. The other winger's coming across. And they're in a good spot with this support, good communication and execution off of a face-off. Probably another reason why they won the Stanley Cup is their attention to detail when it comes to face-offs and execution of what you need to do. And now this is another Boston clip where there's going to be a reverse. And then the winger's going to stretch on this one for Boston. So this is the same face-off again. I got to move it. So again, Boston has the D behind. And the D off the wall, big chair around here. He's coming back this way. This guy stayed. This guy came back and stayed. He stayed inside. Again, they have 4 guys inside the line. They have this guy stretched to take it away from them. But again, they got execution. There was a little bit of a fumble off of the draw, maybe who got the puck, but when they got it, they sorted it out. And nobody left, nobody panicked. They all stayed in their position, stayed in good support, and they were able to find a way to get the puck out of the zone. This is another one. This is the Winnipeg Jets. Somewhere, again, they're set up with a bump on the linesman, a bump on the inside. This is Patrick Laine here. So again, they bumped it from the center, wins it back. The D wheels it, and he's going to open up. And he's ready to go. There's the center there, and the D is behind him, so they have 4 now that go in the rush. So exiting the zone, wingers have to be strong on the wall. We always tell them, you got to practice, get the puck out, get the puck out, get the puck out on the wall. It's hard to do if you don't have support. And that guy in the middle of the rink is a huge part of having that good support and making sure that you have someone there with you to make it go your way. So we go to with Colorado, where the D comes a long way. Good bump here by the D on the inside, and there's a bump by the forward, and he's down here on his forehand. So now he's come from the front. There's a right-hander on the wall here. They switch sides, so they've obviously talked to each other to say that you're going to get the puck because you're in your forehand. You're going to turn it up around this pile, and you're going to have this guy come to here. So again, it's another face-off plan where they've communicated what they need each other to do and where they should be to help each other. Puck's there, puck's out. Show it again. So do you have any questions on the defensive zone? The one face-off that I, for some reason I don't have, but on this face-off here, lots of times this, the guy that does the bumping here, there are times when this D are going to get the puck, that the center here, he wins the puck clean and it goes there. The guy here that's bumping, lots of times they'll release the winger to here and release the centerman early as well, or let the centerman stretch, and this winger opens up, and the guy that was underneath and bumped, he actually stays, and this is centerman in the rink. So a lot of teams are center on center, so if this center just takes off and leaves, it's a little different look for them, and having the winger stay underneath and be the centerman is another adjustment or a little nuance you can do in it to make it just a little bit different. If you know, if they're staying above it and you're not getting yourself out, that guy can stay, bump a little longer, and then he stays in and he helps the D, especially if the D goes, maybe they go reverse it to each other, or they go over and they go back. Over, and when they go over and he stops, he comes back on the other side. It's really effective then when that guy that bumps in the middle. So if they win the face-off here, and this D brings it wide here and then goes back here to his partner, then that guy that bumped here would just belly right in here, and he'd get this pass from him right there. Because once the guy that he bumps has to get back and chase, or he has to get back above it, he'll leave him, and you'll find that he'll be wide open if they go over and back on that face-off. Any questions on any of that? Neutral zone face-offs are, again, it's a place where, depending on if it's your blue line or not, if this is your blue line and we're defending, mostly you're going to bump, and you're going to bump, and really, if you're the defending team, you're not going to really try to accomplish once the puck goes back here to here. If these guys win it, it's just going to be bumping by these forwards to try to slow down the forecheck. You win the puck here, now you have, is he going to bump because it's in this spot? Is he bumping, and is he going to go away this way? Is he going to come across? So there's different things you can do here with this D to D. If he comes this way, if he bumps and stays, does he come across here and he just goes that way? Does he open up this way? He comes here and the center goes away, which is one that happens a lot, is that the center just goes away. So there's a lot of things you can do from this blue line when you receive the face-off here. But if you're this team that's the attacking team, it's a little bit harder to take it back too. You don't want to go back too deep and give up ice and then go back. Lots of times it's a hard rim. It's just it goes D to D and they rim it here, and then the winger has to get here, the centerman gets above it here, and the other guy goes into that way, and then he gets back above it, right? If they just a rim tap back and they go after it. And so pretty elementary there. There's not a lot you can do other than, as Randy Carlisle used to call it, the old sneak attack from this blue line, where if you win it here, this D goes, and you give him the puck here, so this winger tries to bump him out here, send him and bump him here, and try to have this D sneak through the middle with this guy jumping as well. So there's some limited, I haven't seen a whole lot of different things to do with this blue line going this way when you win the puck, other than rim it and tap it back. I guess you could get it and enter with it. So we have, I think I have 4 or 5 of these neutral zone clips. We'll take a look at a couple of them. A lot of it is, this is going to be Toronto. I think this is, center's going to go this way, and they're going to exchange positions here on the D to D. So this, the center's going that way, this winger's going up. So that winger there, he's here, he was here, he's coming up and over this way, and the centerman is coming to take his spot, and then the middle forward in the middle is directing traffic. If it goes back over, he's going to be the guy in the middle. They go over, they go back, and now he's back in the middle of the rink supporting it, and the centerman, the other winger has gone back across to this side, and the center is in this lane. So they've all 3 exchanged lanes, and the guy in the middle of the rink, he was the winger in the middle of the rink at the start of it. So this is the guy here that ends up getting the puck. So he was bumping on this side here. This guy went this way. This guy went up and over. Now they get it, they're underneath it, and he's got space. So what they've created by stretching here, D are back at the blue line in the middle, and they've got some space in the neutral zone to come with a little bit of speed and possibly create an entry. Right now it's a 3-on-3, but they have a possibility to create a 2-on-1 on this guy over here if he gets underneath this guy soon enough. And it created a little bit of space for them to do something. This is just from straight up center ice. And I think Boston is just going to say, you could decide to go back here and try to build something if you want to. But lots of times they just, let's go ahead. So you just go straight ahead with the puck, and they get the puck to this position here. And you win the foot race to it, but with either him or him, and get the puck behind him and get going. It's not really creative. It doesn't need to be. It's in the neutral ice. You're just trying to establish a forecheck rather than winning the puck, bringing it back, and going D to D, back to the D, and trying to create something. You're just saying, let's just go ahead and let's just get after it again. Maybe this isn't right after they score a goal. This could be the start of a period, or maybe momentum's gone against you a little bit. Just go straight ahead with it and take the confusion out of it, and just let your players go on and just get after it. So the puck just goes up, and they go in, and then the center's on the forecheck, and they're 3 hard on it, and they've established a forecheck, and they're into the zone, and they're just after it again. So you don't really have to complicate it either. Just if you're keeping it, just keep it simple for your group. And especially this is very effective right after you score a goal, because you got momentum. So now you want to go keep after them. You know, you get the fire lit underneath them. Let's get going. Let's keep going and not try to confuse it too much. So this is going to be Winnipeg Jets. And they're going to stretch their center, and the winger is going to be the guy that's underneath it. So the center is going to end up coming and stretching. I think it's this guy here that stays, this guy right here. So that's the winger stretching, that's the winger across, and the center went right up the middle. See it again. I was wrong on the first one. It's this guy that's going to be the guy that does it. So the center's just going to stretch to the middle here. He's just going to widen out to here, and he's going to be underneath it. So all they're trying to do is tip it here to this guy with speed, or tip it to him to the center with speed, or maybe they're trying to tip it to him for speed on the other side of the rink. But it's just a straight stretch up the ice by the center and the winger. Again. There we go. Straight up D to D, tip and go, and now they're on their horse and they're going. It's not complicated either, but it's a little tricky. That makes St. Louis have to make some adjustment and move their feet. You never know when you get a guy twisting his feet, who might fall down. But on this one, they create a forecheck off of it, and that's basically off a neutral zone face-off. That's what you're trying to do, is to make sure you can create a forecheck at least off of it. This is the Calgary Flame, where the winger is really going to come across, and you'll be able to notice him. 67 stays right here. So the left winger and the centerman, there's the left winger, he went wide, and the center came out, and he's going to come back over here. And now this winger, who is in the middle, they're going to go D to D. He's right here underneath it. So it's not the center that's underneath it, it's the winger. And they go right up. He's supporting. This is the centerman over here now. So they exchange position. And again, trying to go with speed to get the puck behind the D and create a forecheck opportunity for them. Show it to you one more time live. They're going to make the D to D. He's going to be underneath it. That's the D to come up to get him. So they were gapped up pretty good. This is the New York Islanders, where the center ice is going to go to the boards, and they're going to come across with this guy. So it's one face-off. This winger's stretching here. The center's gone away, and the other winger is now in the middle. The left winger is now in the middle on the D to D. And they're just stretching it to him, and they get on the forecheck. There's not a lot of possession off of these, but what they do is they establish a forecheck, and it gave you a plan in the neutral zone to come up with something rather than trying to make it up. At least they go out on the ice They're organized and they know what they're doing, and that gives them an opportunity to perhaps, you know, create some offense off of this. And the most important thing of all of this, face-off planning in the neutral zone, when you win the puck, is that you don't play any time in your end. Because we all know that you don't want to get good at playing your end, because that means you're there too long. When you're getting good at it, you've played there way too long. See that one again? Again, it just gets in deep, they get on it, and they get forechecked. We'll move on to the offensive zone. And again, you can be very creative, and this is sometimes with your players, you can, especially the good guys, they want to have an opportunity to score. We all want to score goals for sure. So it's always interesting to talk to them and sometimes they come up with some really good stuff, which is, you should be very supportive of. The one play I couldn't go back far enough, was a Mike Hoffman play that I still can't figure it out. He used to do it for me in Ottawa, and I still can't figure out how they did it, but he used to score lots of goals on it. Anyway, but a lot of these face-offs they're going to show you, it's going to be based on, the puck is here, this guy's coming across the top here, or no, I'm sorry, he's going on the bottom, he's coming this way, which you could call that a washing machine, you could call it an end around, you can basically call it whatever you want to call it, a tilt-a-whirl or whatever. But basically the winger on the wall is heading for the front of the net, this winger's coming up the top, it's going to be center on top of center, and the D are going to go D to D for a shot or back to the D, or they're going to look for, you know, this guy coming through the middle, maybe he's going to come down and find him here. There's a couple of different options that we'll be able to see and possibly talk about. But for the most part, the wingers are going over and under, or across and over and across, however you want to talk about it. And the first one is the Edmonton Oilers. We'll just watch it first by itself so we can critique it after. So, guy on the wall here, big Cassian, is going to go through the D. He's heading right for the net. Center on center with Leon Draisaitl. I'm not sure which player this is, Hendricks possibly, but he's basically coming around here. He's going this way, he's coming this way, and the D are waiting to see what's going to happen with it. And so defensively, Vancouver, this is the D now that's coming out to try to find this guy. This is the other D from the wall that has this guy, and this is the center on the center. The wingers released him to get out to here. He's holding the middle of the rink. So this guy now is trying to find him. And what happened there? We have two guys playing the same guy, and the center leaves the center, and the puck ends up in your net. So this is a good offensive play by the Edmonton Oilers to get it going. They create confusion by the center. This D-man happened to come so far out to find that winger, and the center stayed with the center, but as soon as he felt that there was he felt that he had to leave, just do your job, would be what I would say. Just do your job, and then things will work out. The goalie will handle everything else, but just do your job. He ends up with two guys. Anybody got anything to say about that one? Like it, dislike it, works good, works bad?
Works good on this weekend.
So it's a defending them can be tough, but this is a good play by Edmonton. They run a good play. It was well done, and
you have to stick to your job.
just do your job. Yeah, try to just do your job. You can't do somebody else's job. Your job's hard enough without trying to do somebody else's. So for me, on this one, I would prefer that if this centerman here and this D-man switched. So when this centerman reads that this is going to go out here, and this guy should be yelling, switch, switch, so the centerman knows he has to switch and take this guy. Even if this centerman is late getting to this guy, it's way better than what happens here. Because now he thinks he has to go and play the other guy, so he leaves his guy to play that guy. So if this centerman, if he had just stopped here and said, switch, 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 he comes out to get him, and now the D would have him, and everybody would be sorted out, would they not? Mm-hmm. But because the D comes all the way out here, it creates some sense of loose puck battle, I gotta get him. Well, no, that's his guy. You stay with this guy. Just stay with this guy. This guy's on the inside, he gets to the puck. If he stayed here inside, you know, Draisaitl doesn't get it. Have a little faith in this guy, that this guy's gonna have to turn around to get it on his forehand. If he's on his backhand, he can get it. And this guy's in a good position still to defend him, even though he's behind him. But as soon as this guy reaches and leaves, now to play him, it's in the net. Watch it again live. It's just a shot and a rebound, and leave your guy. This is the Detroit Red Wing. We call this one kind of back in the day when I first started playing in the early 80s, there was a guy with the New York Islanders named Michel Bossy. And he was one of the first guys, I think, they probably did this before Michel Bossy played, but this is when I first started noticing it. He would be a right shot and he would line up, this would be on the other side. So this would be Bossy on the other side of the rink, and he's just gonna come across here and they're gonna win the puck to the D, and this guy's gonna bump into his D and have a screen at the net, and for some reason they find him right here in the slot with the pass from the D, and he's gonna shoot it right in the net. Pretty simple. He's bump it and away he goes. Pretty good play. Yeah. Fans like it. Fans of Detroit like it. So again, they say center on center pretty good, but the confusion is again with this guy. This is the D again that's trying to come all the way. So he gets kind of jammed up by the linesman. Right, he got a little mixed up with the linesman. He didn't get out to him. He tried to keep it on one side, but nobody really got to this guy, and this guy missed him. So how are they going to sort this one out? How would you sort this one out? Yeah. What's that?
I would leave my inside winger as a safety a little bit, and I, of course...
This is him here. The inside winger?
The bump winger, if it's in a defensive in Dallas, I would have the bumper guy to stay in the middle, to cover the ice first, and then release out when the D is...
Yeah. When he sees this guy zooming through here, he'd probably stay with him. Yeah.
Rather have outside shot than a one-time in the middle.
His wrister from out here is way better than this one from right there, right? Yeah. So you'd have that guy hold. So what we're saying is this is the bumper guy here, or this is the D, that's the outside guy, he's going that way. This bumper guy should stay here and protect this ice when he's talking about this guy, right? Yep. Or you could still have, it's pretty hard to have a switch between the two Ds, so the right play, I would agree, is to have this guy hold his ice like he did, but he never went to this guy. And this D should have been able to play this guy when he came down the wall. Once they communicated, I got this guy, you got this guy. So right here, he should have gone with him, and he should have said, I got this guy, I got this guy. So a little communication between those two guys would have made it a little better. Anybody else?
There's still time for the D to take this man.
This D?
Yeah.
To take this guy?
No, the other guy who's going to score.
This guy? Yeah, there's still, if
he
you would...
changes his mind and starts to go on the D, who has the puck.
Yeah, you freeze your D, you're dead, right? Once your feet start, you freeze, yeah, you're done. Yeah, but if he keeps going, he has a chance for the pass.
But if he had thought, like you said before, I have my guy, my job.
Yep.
Just follow that guy, then he's going to happen.
Yeah, that's his job. His job is to have this guy. Yeah, exactly. And this guy, nobody's got his, the puck didn't go to his point, but he's selling that he is. So he's doing his job, getting up there. Center's on center, we're boxed out here. It's these two guys that have these two guys to sort out. Which one's yours? If they talk to each other, they should be able to sort it out. A couple of these ones are, this is just, I found a different alignment from Carolina. They got because it's the left-handed centerman, obviously, that their D are here and here. It makes it a little bit harder for these two wingers, especially if you get a good bump here, and that's what they end up doing. They get a real good bump here. Now this guy's coming out to play the two guys. and shoot it right in the middle of the net. But it was just an interesting, good execution by the offensive team that, okay, we're gonna offset the guys on the left-hand side, and you guys wanna see this one again? Anybody? Are we done with this one? There's still a little bit of a muttering when we went ahead, or we just like to see it. It's a good play, right? Here we have Carolina again. This is that one we just saw. But good bump by this guy. I mean, that's pretty close to a penalty, I would say. But they didn't call it a penalty, but it was close. Good job by the center iceman. And 14 goes hard to the net, so he occupies him. This guy here, I might say that you'd want to keep it on one side. Is what I would always say is if we can keep the puck on one side, much like Rob said in the penalty killing, and if you're trying to defend and kill penalties, or even in defending, if you keep the puck on one side, it's way easier than when it goes to the other side. Now everybody has to shift. So if he had to just come up and stayed hard on this guy and force this guy to shoot, you have everybody boxed out this way. If he ends up going this way, you can sort things out, give your partner a chance that got bumped into, get to his guy, because right now that's his guy. So if he's out, they're talking who's bumping, who's jumping. So if this guy was bumping, he would have to jump. So if he should be going, if he came up more on this guy, it would invite this guy to stay here and shoot, and that would give him a chance to get into the lane. But when he comes up right in the middle, they pass it through him, and now everybody has to adjust, everybody has to move, and they shoot it right through the goalie. I'm not sure if that went 5-hole or not, but it's in the net anyway. So again, it was good execution by Carolina. They had to come up with something to force you to have to, do something about it, and they end up getting a good goal out of it.
Even here, the Sentman didn't these guys.
Didn't take his guy?
Yeah, look at 20.
20, yeah. 20 gets it wide open, yeah.
Because the Sentman changed.
He's ended up with the bump guy. So that's very critical that your center stays on the center, unless there's a switch to instead of that D going all the way out that we said in that earlier clip, that's when your center can switch, but it's critical that center stays on center. It's the Boston Bruins, and this is where the wing, they're trying to go in and around. Marchand's going to try to come around past Nick's going to the end. I think they're trying to give it to Marchand down here, and then he would find, they get Bergeron here in the middle, but they don't, Carolina defends it actually pretty good. Here he comes around the horn, they go back, so they're trying to give it to him here, and he was probably trying to release to get out here, and they did a good job of boxing this guy out of the net, so now he's not very effective, because it's really hard to play the puck when you're on your hands and knees, and then when you're defending the front of your net, you like to see guys on their hands and knees around your net. So it's a good job here by Carolina sorting it out. They do a good sort out. Center stayed on the center, and the D got this sorted out, and they do a good job of covering it up. They do a real good job on it. This is another one with James Dean on this side here. He's going to try to, I think they're going to win the puck, and they're trying to drag it and give it back to him. So he's on the wall here, and drag it and go back to him, and he would come underneath it and shoot it. And I think that Colorado sniffs this one out pretty good too. So they're going to get to it, up to the D. So this guy got up real quick, so he couldn't take a step that way. And I think he wanted to take a step that way and go back to him to go underneath it. But they do a good job on the D to D. Now they're forced to just rim it, and try to get some possession out of it. But that's what it looked like to me they were trying to do. A good job by Colorado sorting it out and making sure they have the right people on the right guys, and nothing happens. If you're organized, even on the defensive side of it, if you're organized, know what you're doing, know what their plan is, you should be able to get out and get things done for yourselves and for your teammates. And this is Nashville Predators. And they're just going to make a good D to D play here. And they went up and over, and numbers at the net. both gonna go to the net to get a bump. Get a good bump right there. And the center got to the net. Lots of switching by Dallas. Didn't go in the net, but it ended up being, again, they got an opportunity at the net off of a face-off play. So having, in all three zones, having a plan, making sure that you know who's in charge, who's gonna get the puck is a big part of it, especially in the defensive zone, who's going to get the puck, and who's bumping, who's jumping or stretching, and then coming out of the offensive zone, and in the defensive structure, center on center, know who you are, and on the defensive side of it, in the defensive zone, keep it on one side. Keep it on one side as much as a winger, you gotta keep it on one side, and the center's in charge, center on center, and make sure the D are boxing out, putting people on their knees around your net, because if, I know one thing, that if you play in your zone too much, you're looking for another job.
Can you play this clip one more time?
This one right here?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I really like that play, because it would be a lefty on the top there, number 57. That would be a huge hammer as a one-timer, and you have a lot of time for the forwards to get to the net. So.
Yeah. On this one here, who has the hammer?
If the 57, the right D here, if he would be a lefty,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and he comes on top here again, when you switch the side and he comes back on top, it would be
Yeah,
a
so
really hard time to.
He's a left-hander coming this way, there'd be a right-hander right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a left-hander, in this
They
case.
switch positions.
Yeah,
Okay,
righty, yeah,
Push it a little bit further. And stop now.
yeah, that's a one-timer, it'd be a better play, right?
That would be a great play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also back on top for that number 57 as a left.
Yeah, if he's lefty, he'd come back to the top, and
Yeah.
so if he's a right-hander, he could pound it here, if he's a lefty back to here, he just come back to him here. Yeah, good play too, very good play. Any questions, concerns, attitude adjustments?
How much time you put in those details?
These details,
On your daily work, or is it in blocks?
I do it at the start of training camp. I tried to start the first practice with D-zone face-offs, exits out of both ends. So you got a coach here, and you're just doing different walkthroughs both sides. And then the second day, you do offensive zone face-off. During the first day of training camp, if you're doing, anytime you're doing the neutral zone
But during the season?
during the season,
Yeah.
we would review it mostly on video. I would have an assistant coach in our daily preparation, our nightly preparation in the morning time. We would have a presentation of defensive zone clips, offensive zone clips for who we're playing. And if they did something strange in the neutral zone, we would show a clip of that. Otherwise, we would just put on the scouting report that they go center away 90% of the time, or the winger's going to be underneath, whatnot. So it's,
But you don't take it on the practice during the season?
we do it, yes.
That's my question.
We do, yes. If we're scrimmaging in a controlled scrimmage or a power play penalty killing face-off thing, or if we're doing a neutral zone scrimmage, we do the face-off plays. Anytime you're on the ice and you're doing something that requires a face-off, we're doing a play of some kind. We're gonna do that first. So we say, we wanna run it's an offensive zone face-off that we're working on. We wanna run the face-off, so the defending team, be stupid, like, as we say, just be yourself. And then, so we get the offensive play, and then it's play. So we get that over back, you get that one time and the shot's there. If the goalie's got the puck, you throw another puck in the corner and say, play. Now you're playing defensive zone coverage. On the other side of it, when it's a defensive zone breakout, we want the defensive zone at least to get to here, then throw another puck in and sort it out to play defense. So we do that.
I just wondered because I thought you only showed it on clips or.
Yeah, no.
Or all on the practice.
No.
That's why I was.
I try to do it as incorporated in as much of, if you're doing face-off stuff in practice, do your face-off stuff when you're doing that. That's the way I would do it.
You also have to win the puck to do this stuff? Do you,
Well, in order to run a you have to win the puck to do it.
So
yeah.
how
Yeah.
much time or strategies do the centermen have? Or they you just let them do their thing, or you have coaches coaching them in
Well, the
different
coach-
techniques, or?
The coach shows them in the pre-scout what the other team is doing, or how we want to, these are our breakouts, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
but I mean,
5.
when the puck drop is,
Yeah,
you have to win the puck.
yes.
How are you going to teach or do you work with the centerman to get better?
Oh, in the face-off?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, oh yeah, they have to work every day. Every day, if the centerman's on the ice, before he leaves the ice, he has to at least drop 50 pucks.
Okay.
Minimum 50 pucks with a coach or with a teammate or whoever. They find a face-off dot, or we make a
Do they also
face-off
get a
dot.
strategy or different techniques that you're as a team?
Well, their technique is to win it forehand, win it backhand, and after that, when he goes into the face-off, he's telling them forehand, backhand, so we should know that if it's on his forehand, this D is probably going to get it, right? If he's on his forehand here, the puck's probably going to go there, so this D should get the puck. Right, so this D should make sure he bumps here, and then this D has to be ready to go and get it, because he can't get a bump on that guy. You can't run him into the linesman if you're going to get the puck. But then this D here would be right here, so as soon as he gets it, he's bumping it right to there. So if he said it was, so this is on his right hand, is on his backhand, he's on his forehand on this side, it'll be the other way around, right? Then this guy's gonna bump like crazy, so this guy doesn't get him, and he's gonna bump like crazy, so the D can come in here and get the puck, and this guy can stretch to get it out. So depending on forehand, backhand, the center is predicated on what they're gonna do and who's bumping and jumping by forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand.
Bra. Ska vi se.
We all good?
Precis, inga mer frågor?
Can I tell them one story though first? Just
Yeah,
one story.
sure.
I played with the Winnipeg Jets back in '85, and we played the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we had a guy named Doug Smale. He had just come back from an injury. He got cross-checked, and he had a broken jaw, so he was just coming back from an injury. And we were playing Pittsburgh, and Paul Gardner was a decent-sized guy like me. He could play, pretty good skill guy, really a skilled guy. And Doug Smale got the puck, and he came across like this, and Paul Gardner, he turned right instead of turning left, and God help me, he just ran into him, and he put his stick up like this, and it hit Doug Smale, like right in the jaw, right after he broke his jaw. So back in 1985, that's a huge event. Right? That's a huge event. Everybody on the ice is hugging and kissing and tapping each other on the head. Penalties all over the place. So it ends up penalties. Winnipeg Jets have 2 guys in the penalty box. Pittsburgh has 1. So it's a 5-on-3, 4-on-3 face-off in this end, and this Paul Gardner's taking the face-off. So Tom Watt was the coach, and he comes down to Jimmy Mann, Jimmy Mann played in the Quebec League, and he was a real tough guy, big left-hander, and he could, bad hombre. Goes to take the face-off against Paul Gardner, and they're all ready for the face-off, and the linesman gets in there, and they drop the puck, and puff! Jimmy Mann hits Paul Gardner, down Paul Gardner goes, he's laying on the ice, blood is everywhere. Another significant event happens. This time, everybody that's wearing a sweater is out on the ice. These ones are no fun, right? When everyone's on the ice dancing around, hugging and kissing, they're no fun. So after the game, we're talking to the coach, and he said, holy crap, what the heck happened there? What the heck in there? He goes, I don't know what Jimmy was thinking. When I told him to go out there, I said, take the face off, not take his face off. And Jimmy got suspended.